I'm standing at my pastor's funeral, holding my phone with 7,000 messages that prove he spent 20 years sleeping with my wife during our marriage counseling. The slideshow starts in 10 minutes. My daughter is waiting for my signal. Do I press send, or do I let 400 people celebrate a lie? Let me tell you how I got here. 48 hours ago, I was a different man. Wednesday afternoon, the call came at 2:47 p.m. Pastor Martin Taylor, heart attack at his desk, dead at 55. I left school early, drove straight to Grace Community Church. The parking lot was already full, people crying, hugging. I found my wife Rebecca in the sanctuary, surrounded by the worship team. She looked devastated, appropriate devastation, the kind you'd expect when your beloved pastor dies. Emma met me at the door, 17, senior year, my firstborn. Her eyes were red. Dad, they asked me to make the funeral slideshow. I need to get photos from Pastor Martin's office. I'll help you. We went upstairs together. Martin's office still smelled like him, coffee and old books. His desk was clean except for one thing, his phone. Silver iPhone, cracked screen protector across the top right corner. Emma picked it up. I need his photos for the slideshow. The screen was warm, like someone had just held it, like Martin was still here. It's locked, Emma said. She tried his birthday. Wrong. She tried his wife's name. Wrong. Then she paused, looked at me, tried her own birthday. It unlocked. I saw her face change. That's the moment I knew. Before she showed me anything, before she said a word, I knew. You know that feeling, when your body understands something terrible before your brain catches up? Dad. Her voice was small. There's a lot of messages between Mom and Pastor Martin. How many? She scrolled, kept scrolling. Dad, there's more, hundreds more, and they're about you. We sat on Martin's leather couch, the same couch where Rebecca and I had done our marriage counseling for 3 years. Emma handed me the phone. Her hands were shaking. The messages went back, and back, and back. March 2003, 3 months after I married her mother, Rebecca, to Martin. Can't stop thinking about last night. James is at work. Come over? Martin to Rebecca. On my way. We have 2 hours. I kept scrolling. The messages weren't hidden in some secret app. They were right there. Regular text messages. Contact name, Grace. Clever. Every time the phone lit up, I probably thought it was church business. Emma was crying silently beside me. I pulled her close. Keep going, Dad. You need to see. July 2005. Emma was 3. Rebecca to Martin. James wants another baby. I told him I'm not ready. How can I give him another child when I'm in love with you? Martin to Rebecca. We'll figure this out. I'm not going anywhere. September 2007. Martin to Rebecca. Today, during counseling, James told me he feels distant from you. I almost laughed. If he only knew how close we really are. I stopped reading, looked at Emma. How far back do these go? I checked. The first one is dated March 2003. Dad, that's 3 months after we got married. 20 years, 7,294 messages. That's not an affair. That's a second marriage. Emma scrolled to the photo section. I stopped her hand. Not yet, sweetheart. But I saw enough. A thumbnail. Rebecca in Martin's office, her head on his shoulder, both of them smiling. I stood up. My legs felt strange, like they belonged to someone else. Dad, what do we do? I don't know yet, but Emma, I looked at her, my beautiful daughter who'd come to make a tribute slideshow and found this instead. We're going to figure this out together, okay? She nodded. Then she said something that broke me. Dad, was any of it real? Our family? You were real, baby. You and Sophie. You were always real. I couldn't go home yet. Couldn't face Rebecca. I drove to the high school, sat in my office, principal's office, empty after hours. I needed to think. But I couldn't think. My mind kept circling back to one thing. The marriage counseling. We'd gone to Martin for 3 years, weekly sessions. I'd tell him everything, how I felt distant from Rebecca, how I didn't understand why she pulled away, how I wanted to be a better husband, and he'd sit there nodding, taking notes, giving me advice. Some marriages just need time, James. Have you considered that she might need space? Keep serving her. Keep showing up. That's what Christ calls us to do. And the whole time, he was sleeping with her. My phone buzzed. Text from Emma. Dad, I found something else in his office. Can you come back? I drove back to the church. The parking lot was emptier now. Emma met me at the side entrance carrying something, a leather journal, red with an embossed cross, Rebecca's prayer journal. It was in his desk drawer. Dad, I think you need to read it. The leather was soft, worn at the corners. It smelled like jasmine, Rebecca's perfume. The red ribbon bookmark was placed at today's date. I opened to it. Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. Martin's funeral is tomorrow. I don't know how to mourn him in front of James. How do I stand beside my husband and grieve the man I actually loved for 20 years? How do I sing at his funeral when all I want to do is scream that he was mine? My hands tightened on the journal. Keep reading, Emma whispered. I flipped back. Random entries. June 2019. James asked me tonight why I'm not interested in sex anymore. I couldn't tell him it's because I'm satisfied. Martin and I meet every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m., the marriage counseling appointments. James pays for them. The irony would be funny if it wasn't so sad. December 2020, Emma drew a picture in Sunday school today. My family. She drew Martin, me, and her, not James. Even at 12, she knows. Children always know. I closed the journal, looked at Emma. You didn't know, sweetheart. None of this is your fault. But her face told me she was already rewriting her childhood, looking for signs, wondering what else she'd missed. I flipped to another entry. March 2023. James told Martin today that he feels like a failure as a husband. Martin came to my house after and we laughed about it. 20 years, and he still doesn't see. Martin says we only have to wait 2 more years until Sophie graduates. Then we can finally be together. There was something tucked inside the journal, a card, Hallmark silver script. I opened it. Happy 20th anniversary, my love. 20 years of loving you in secret. 2 more until we can be free. M dated last month. 2 more years. They were planning to leave. After Sophie turned 18. After I'd raised her. After I'd paid for everything. After I'd trusted them. Dad? I looked up. Emma's face was pale. There's one more thing I didn't want to show you, but you need to hear it. Midnight. I'm alone in my home office. Rebecca's asleep upstairs. Sophie's asleep. Emma's in her room, door locked. She handed me earbuds before she went upstairs. It's in his voice memos folder, dated June 2022. I press play. That's my voice, broken, vulnerable. Pastor, I don't know how to reach her anymore. I've tried everything. I've prayed. I've served. I've given her space. But I feel like I'm losing her. Like she's somewhere else. Like I'm not enough. The audio quality is too good. Professional. He recorded me deliberately. My voice continues. I'm crying now in the recording. Sometimes I wonder if she ever really loved me. If I was just convenient. The safe choice. The guy she was supposed to marry. Silence on the recording. Then Martin's voice. James, some marriages, they just run their course. Have you considered that maybe God's plan for your marriage isn't what you thought it was? No. I made a vow. I'm not giving up. I admire your commitment. I really do. But sometimes holding on too tight is what drives people away. The recording clicks off. I think that's it. But then it continues. Martin's voice, but different, casual, laughing. Rebecca, you there? Rebecca's voice. Yeah, I'm here. Did he just leave? Just left. God, that was painful. 45 minutes of him crying about your marriage. Rebecca laughs. That sound. That laugh I've loved for 22 years. What did he say? Same thing as always. He doesn't understand why you're distant. He wants to try harder. He actually cried when he told me he feels like he's not enough. He's not. They laughed together. Rebecca. I'm serious, Martin. He's not. He's never been. You know what he told me last week? He said he feels blessed that I chose him. Blessed. Like I had options and I picked him. He has no idea I settled. 2 more years, babe. Sophie graduates and we're done with this. 2 more years. Then we can stop pretending. The recording ends. I sit in the dark. The house is quiet. Everyone's asleep. But I'm awake. And I'm done being the man they laughed at. Some secrets are heavier than truth. And tomorrow, at Martin's funeral, I'm going to find out just how heavy this secret really is. Thursday morning, 24 hours before the funeral, I didn't sleep. At 6 a.m., I left the house before Rebecca woke up, drove back to the church. I needed more evidence, more proof, more certainty that I wasn't losing my mind. Diane Foster was already there, church secretary for 18 years, gray hair, reading glasses on a chain. She's seen everything that happens in this building. James, I'm so sorry about Pastor Martin. How are you holding up? Diane, I need to see something. The church calendar, all of it, going back 20 years. Her face changed, just slightly, like she knew what I was looking for. James, I don't think... Please. She led me to her office, pulled up the digital archive. Decades of appointments, events, counseling sessions, all color-coded, yellow for counseling appointments. Show me Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 to 4 p.m., last 20 years. She typed. The screen filled with yellow blocks. Marriage counseling, Wilson. 2 part 4, 2 p.m. Tuesday, marriage counseling, Wilson. 2 act 4, 6 p.m. Thursday, again and again and again. How many? My voice sounded far away. Diane scrolled, counted. Her hands were shaking. 240 appointments over 10 years. 240 appointments, 480 hours. That's 20 days. 20 full days they spent in his office while I was at work, teaching teenagers about integrity and character. Diane, did you know? Silence. Diane. She took off her glasses, wouldn't look at me. James, I thought you knew. Everyone on staff knew. We just thought you'd made peace with it. The room tilted. Everyone knew. Not everyone, but the staff. We assumed it was an arrangement that you and Rebecca had. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have assumed. I stood up. 20 years. The staff knew. The people who smiled at me every Sunday, who asked about my family, who prayed with me, they knew. And they thought I was okay with it. James, where are you going? Home, to talk to my daughter. Emma was waiting in the kitchen when I got back. Coffee already made, 2 mugs on the table. Rebecca's car was gone. Worship team practice for the funeral. Did you sleep? I asked. No. You? No. We sat across from each other. The childhood drawing was on the table between us. 3 crayon figures, Mommy, Pastor Martin, me, her 5-year-old handwriting. Emma wrapped her hands around her coffee mug. I've been thinking all night, Dad, about what we do now. Me too. I looked through more of the messages. There are photos, videos, letters. Dad, this wasn't just an affair. They had a whole relationship, a whole life, and we were just background noise. I reached across the table, took her hand. Emma, you were never background noise. You and Sophie are the only real thing in this. But I drew him, Dad. When I was 5, I drew him as part of our family instead of you. What does that say about me? It says you were 5. It says they put him in places he shouldn't have been. Sunday school, family dinners, your baptism. They made him central to your life, and you were too young to know that wasn't normal. She pulled out an envelope. Stanford acceptance letter, full ride, early admission. I'm supposed to go to California in 9 months, leave you and Sophie here with her. How do I do that? How do I leave you alone with someone who did this? Emma and Sophie, she's 15. She worships mom. She wants to be just like her. How do we tell her that the woman she idolizes is a liar, that our whole family is built on lies? I stood up, walked around the table, pulled Emma up and held her. Listen to me. You got into Stanford. You're brilliant. You're kind. You are not defined by their betrayal. Do you hear me? She was crying into my shoulder. Then why does it feel like I'm dirty? Like I'm part of this? Because they made something sacred, trust, family, church, dirty. But you're not. You never were. We stood there in the kitchen, morning light coming through the window. 22 years of breakfast in this kitchen. 22 years of family dinners. How many of those meals did Rebecca sit across from me thinking about him? Emma pulled back, wiped her eyes. Dad, the funeral is tomorrow. What are we going to do? What do you want to do? She looked at me. Her eyes had aged 20 years in 24 hours. I want to tell the truth. I want everyone to know what he really was, what she really is. But I'm also 15 seconds away from throwing up every time I think about standing in front of the whole church and exposing this. Then we don't have to... No. Her voice was firm. No, we do. Because if we don't, Dad, what does that teach me? What does that teach Sophie? That silence protects us? That keeping secrets is the same as keeping peace? I sat back down. She sat beside me. Here's the question I couldn't answer last night, Emma. Do I protect you from pain, or do I teach you that truth matters more than comfort? You can't protect me from pain. I already found the messages, remember? The pain is here. The question is what we do with it. She was right. My 17-year-old daughter was right. If we do this, I said slowly, there's no going back. Your mother, the church, our friends, everything changes. Everything already changed, Dad. Wednesday afternoon, when I unlocked that phone, everything changed. The only question is whether we pretend it didn't. The kitchen clock ticked. 9:47 a.m. What if I told you that I want to do it? I said. What if I told you I want to stand up at that funeral and read every message, play that recording, show everyone who Martin Taylor really was? I'd say do it. What if I told you I'm terrified it will destroy you and Sophie? Emma looked at the drawing on the table, then at me. Dad, if you don't tell the truth tomorrow, I will. Rebecca came home at noon. I heard her car in the driveway, keys in the door. She was humming, actually humming. She walked into the kitchen, saw Emma and me sitting there. There you are. James, I need you to wear your navy suit tomorrow. Not the black one. Navy is more hopeful and we need... Rebecca, sit down. Something in my voice stopped her. What's wrong? Emma stood up, walked out of the kitchen, but she didn't go far. I could hear her in the hallway, listening. I found Martin's phone. Her face went blank, professional blank. The face she uses when she's processing. Okay, and I read the messages, all 7,000 of them. She sat down slowly, calculating. I could see her mind working. Which version of the story to tell, which explanation might work. James, I can explain. No, you really can't. I pulled out her journal, dropped it on the table between us. The red leather made a dull thud. I read this too. 20 years, Rebecca. 20 years. James, please. I listened to the recording from my counseling session, the one where you and Martin laughed about me crying, about how I'm not enough, about how you settled. Her face crumbled, real tears now. Or were they? How do you trust tears when everything else was a performance? It wasn't supposed to happen like this. We were going to tell you after Sophie graduated. Tell me what? That you've been sleeping with our pastor for 2 decades, that our marriage counseling was just time for you two to be together, That you let me pay for the appointments where you laughed at me? James, I loved you. At first, I did love you. At first, Rebecca, we have 2 daughters. I buried my parents thinking I had a real marriage. I defended you to everyone who said you worked too much, cared too much about church, spent too much time with Martin. I defended you. She was crying now, mascara running. I never meant to hurt you. You meant to leave me, you and Martin, 2 more years. Once Sophie graduated, you had it all planned. Yes. Her voice was barely a whisper. Yes, we did. At least she wasn't denying it anymore. And Emma, did you think about what this would do to Emma? Emma doesn't have to know. James, please. We can work this out. We can go to counseling. She stopped, realized what she'd said. Real counseling with someone else. We can fix this. Fix this? The girls don't have to know. We can handle this privately. We can... Emma found the phone, Rebecca. She was making the funeral slideshow. She unlocked it. She read the messages. She knows everything. The color drained from her face. No, James, please tell me you didn't let her... I didn't let her do anything. She found it. And now she has to live with the knowledge that her mother spent her entire childhood lying. Rebecca stood up, paced, then turned back to me. Okay, so she knows. We'll talk to her. We'll explain. She'll understand. She's going to Stanford. She'll move on. She's strong. She's 17, and she's devastated. She'll get over it. Time healed. Stop, just stop. Rebecca came closer, knelt beside my chair, took my hands. I pulled away. James, please, if you love our daughters, you won't destroy this family. If you expose this, you'll destroy our daughters. Is that what you want? To be the father who ruins everything? The same script Martin taught her. I could hear his voice in her words, the manipulation, the blame shifting. Make me the villain for exposing the truth instead of her for living the lie. You destroyed this family 20 years ago, Rebecca. I'm just deciding whether to keep pretending you didn't. She stood up. Anger now. If you do this, if you stand up at that funeral and make a scene, you will lose everything. The church, your job, your reputation. Everyone will blame you. They'll say you drove me to it. They'll say you weren't man enough to keep your wife. Maybe, or maybe they'll see you for what you are. And what's that? I'm still figuring that out. She grabbed the journal off the table, held it to her chest. This is mine. You had no right. Your lover kept it in his desk drawer. I think that's where your rights ended. She stared at me. This woman I'd loved for 22 years. This stranger. What are you going to do? I'm going to the funeral tomorrow. Beyond that, I don't know yet. James, get out. This is my house. Get out. She left, slammed the door. I heard her car start, drive away. Emma came back into the kitchen. She'd heard everything. Dad. I looked at her, tried to smile, failed. You okay? I don't know what I am. She sat back down beside me. She tried to make it your fault. Yeah. That's what they do, isn't it? Cheaters. They make you think you're crazy for being upset that they lied. Yeah. Emma picked up the drawing again, stared at it. I'm sorry you had to hear that conversation, I said. I'm not. Because now I know. There's no version of this where she's a good person who made a mistake. This was who she always was. We just didn't see it. 5 p.m. My phone rang. Harold Bennett, senior elder, Martin's mentor for 40 years. James, I heard you've been asking questions at the church. Can I come by? 20 minutes later, he was in my living room. 70s, gray beard, cardigan sweater. The man who'd prayed at my wedding, who'd baptized both my daughters. James, I'm worried about you. I'm fine, Harold. Are you? Because I've been hearing concerning things, that you've been going through Martin's private effects, that you're upset about some messages. Some messages. Harold, there are 7,000 messages between my wife and Martin. 20 years of messages. Did you know? He shifted in his chair, uncomfortable. James Martin was a passionate man. He cared deeply for the people he counseled. Sometimes that care could be misinterpreted. Misinterpreted? They had a sexual relationship for 2 decades. They were planning to leave their marriages. Harold pulled out a file. Church letterhead. I came here to show you something, because I think you need context. He opened the file. 3 settlement agreements, 3 women's names, all redacted except first names, Sarah, Michelle, Jennifer. What is this? These are women who made accusations against Martin over the years. We investigated each one thoroughly. We found no evidence of wrongdoing, but to avoid scandal, we offered settlements to help them move on. My hands started shaking. You paid them off. We helped them transition to other churches. We provided counseling funds. We protected Martin's ministry and the church's reputation. You covered it up 3 times. We protected this church. We've built this congregation for 40 years. We have 1,200 members, a $2 million budget, a school, a food bank, missions all over the world. Do you understand what would happen if these allegations became public? I stood up, walked to the window. How long have you known about Rebecca? Silence. Harold, how long? 5 years, maybe 6. I turned around, and you said nothing. I spoke to Martin. He assured me it was under control, that you and Rebecca had an understanding. An understanding. James, please sit down. Let me finish. I didn't sit. Harold leaned forward. The funeral is tomorrow, 400 people. Media will be there. Martin was well known in this community. If you make a scene, if you stand up and make accusations against a dead man, you will destroy everything he built. You'll destroy this church. You'll destroy your own family. My family is already destroyed. Sophie doesn't know yet. She doesn't have to know. Rebecca told me she's willing to work on the marriage if you're willing to forgive. Rebecca told you? She called me this afternoon. She's devastated, James. She's willing to do whatever it takes. I laughed. Actually laughed. You've got this all worked out, don't you? Cover it up, keep everyone quiet, protect the institution. I'm protecting people, including you. He pulled out another document, a check made out to me, $50,000. What is this? The church is prepared to offer you a generous sabbatical, 6 months paid leave from your teaching obligations, time to heal, time to work on your marriage. In return, we ask that you respect Martin's memory and the church's reputation. You're trying to buy my silence. I'm trying to help you because I care about you, because I don't want to see you do something you'll regret. I picked up the check, stared at it, $50,000 to stay quiet, to let Martin be buried as a hero, to teach my daughters that money silences truth. I tore it in half. Get out of my house. James, please. You've protected this church for 40 years, Harold. Are you really going to destroy it over personal pain? That's what you're asking me. But here's my question. Are you going to let it keep destroying people to protect a lie? Harold stood up slowly, gathered his papers. If you do this tomorrow, you're on your own. No church support, no elder backing. Martin can't defend himself. You'll look like a bitter husband making up stories about a dead man. That's how everyone will see it. Maybe. Or maybe 3 other women will finally have someone believe them. Harold stopped at the door. The slideshow is scheduled for 2 p.m., right after the eulogy. Think about what you're about to do to your daughters. He left. I picked up my phone, texted Emma. Can you come downstairs? She appeared 30 seconds later. Was that Elder Bennett? Yeah. What did he want? To buy my silence. I told her everything. The file, the 3 other women, the settlements, the check. Emma's face hardened. They've been doing this for years. Yeah. And they're going to keep doing it unless someone stops them. Yeah. She looked at me. 17 years old. Stronger than she should have to be. Dad, we have to do this. Not just for us, for them, the other women, the ones who've been paid off and silenced. We have to speak up. Emma, no. I know you're trying to protect me, but you can't. The pain is already here. The only choice is whether we let it mean something. 11 p.m., church basement. Emma and I sat at a folding table, her laptop open, 2 USB drives in front of us. I made 2 versions, Emma said. Version 1 is normal. Martin's life in photos, his ministry, his family, safe. She held up the second USB drive. Version 2 has the messages, the most damning ones, the dates, the places, the proof. On her screen, she'd built a slideshow, tasteful, professional. Each slide appeared on screen for 8 seconds. Slide 1, Martin Taylor, 1969-2024. Slide 2, Beloved Pastor slide. 3, Faithful Counselor, then the slides changed. Slide 4, I can't keep lying to him during counseling. Rebecca to Martin, March 2003. Slide 5, James told me he feels like a failure. We laughed about it. Martin to Rebecca, June 2022. Slide 6, 2 more years until we're free. Rebecca to Martin, October 2024. 20 slides, all messages, all proof, all truth. Emma, this is nuclear. I know. If we do this, there's no coming back. I know. I looked at both USB drives. One would let us keep the peace, keep the lie, keep the family intact, at least on the surface. The other would burn it all down. Which one, Dad? I picked up the one with the messages. Some secrets are heavier than truth. Emma exhaled like she'd been holding her breath. I'm scared, she said. Me too. But we're doing it anyway. Yeah, we're doing it anyway. She closed her laptop, looked at me. Dad, what if she's right? What if everyone blames you? What if they say you're a bitter husband destroying a dead man's reputation? Then they'll say that. What if Sophie hates us? Then we'll love her until she doesn't. What if the church turns on us? I reached across the table, took Emma's hand. Then we'll find out which people actually care about truth. Listen to me, sweetheart. Your mother asked me a question today. She asked if I wanted to be the father who ruins everything. And what's the answer? No, I want to be the father who tells the truth, even when it's hard, even when it costs me. Because that's what I want to teach you and Sophie. Not that keeping secrets keeps us safe, but that truth, painful, ugly, terrible truth, is the only foundation worth building on. Emma was crying, but smiling too. Okay, let's do this. We sat there for another hour, going through the slideshow, making sure every message was accurate, every date was correct, every piece of evidence was irrefutable. At midnight, Emma packed up her laptop. The funeral starts at 1 p.m. tomorrow. I'll set up the slideshow at 12:30. The tech guys will think it's the normal version. Emma, Dad, I'm doing this with you. Not for you, with you, okay? Okay. We walked to our cars. The church parking lot was empty, dark. Tomorrow it would be full. 400 people, media, city officials, everyone who thought Martin Taylor was a hero. Emma hugged me in the parking lot. I love you, Dad. I love you too, baby. Whatever happens tomorrow, I'm glad it's us, you, me, and Sophie. That's the real family. Yeah, that's the real family. She drove away. I sat in my car for a long time, staring at the church, this building where I'd worshiped for 20 years, where I'd been baptized, where I'd gotten married, where I'd dedicated my daughters. Tomorrow I would burn it down, not with fire, with truth. And I was ready. Friday, funeral day, I woke up at 6 a.m., didn't remember falling asleep, navy suit like Rebecca wanted. The irony wasn't lost on me. Emma was already awake. I could hear her in her room. Sophie was still asleep, 15 years old, about to have her world shattered. Rebecca hadn't come home last night. I didn't ask where she went. At 11 a.m., my phone buzzed. Text from Rebecca. I'm sorry for all of it. Please don't do this, please. I didn't respond. Another text. Think of Sophie. She loves you. She loves me. Don't make her choose. I put my phone away. 12:30 p.m., church parking lot, already packed, news vans, local officials, the mayor, 400 people filing into the sanctuary, all in black, all ready to celebrate Martin Taylor's life. Emma met me at the side entrance, laptop bag over her shoulder. You ready? I asked. No, but I'm doing it anyway. We went in through the basement, up to the tech booth. Kyle and Marcus were there, high school kids who run the sound and video every Sunday. Hey, Mr. Wilson, Emma, we're so sorry about Pastor Martin. Thanks, Kyle. Emma pulled out the USB drive, the one with the messages. I've got the slideshow ready. Can I plug it in? Yeah, of course. She handed Kyle the drive. He plugged it into the computer, pulled up the file. Looks good. We'll start it right after Elder Bennett's eulogy, around 2:05. Emma glanced at me. I nodded. Perfect. We left the tech booth, walked down to the sanctuary. It was already full. Every seat taken, people standing in the back. I saw faces I'd known for 20 years. The Millers, the Johnsons, the Andersons, all here to mourn a good man. Rebecca was in the front row, black dress, perfect hair. Sophie beside her, crying into her mother's shoulder. Emma squeezed my hand. I'll sit with you, she whispered. We found seats in the third row, close enough to see everything, close enough to watch it unfold. The service started at 1 p.m., worship songs, hymns Martin loved. Rebecca stood to sing. She was leading worship even today. Of course she was. Her voice filled the sanctuary. Amazing grace. Beautiful. Haunting. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Her voice broke on wretch. Real tears, or performed tears, I couldn't tell anymore. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. The irony was unbearable. Harold Bennett stood to give the eulogy, walked to the pulpit, looked out at the congregation. Martin Taylor was a man of God. Murmurs of agreement, amens. For 23 years, he shepherded this church. He counseled over 200 couples. He baptized over 400 people. He built this ministry from 80 members to 1,200. He loved this community. He loved God. He loved people. More amens. Someone in the back shouted, "Preach!" Martin wasn't perfect. He would be the first to tell you that. But he was faithful. He was devoted. He was a man who gave everything for this church. I felt Emma tense beside me. Harold continued, "We're going to miss him, his wisdom, his laugh, his presence, but we can take comfort knowing that Martin is with Jesus now, free from pain, free from this broken world, home at last." Applause. Actual applause in a funeral. And now Emma Wilson has prepared a slideshow celebrating Martin's life. Emma, sweetheart, thank you for honoring our pastor this way. Every head turned to look at Emma. She stood, walked to the front, picked up the microphone. Thank you, Elder Bennett. I wanted to show everyone who Pastor Martin really was. She nodded to the tech booth. The lights dimmed. The screen behind the pulpit lit up, and I reached for my phone. It was time. The first slide appeared. Martin's face. Smiling. Professional photo from the church directory. Martin Taylor, 1969-2024. Second slide. Martin with his wife, his kids, grandkids, beloved pastor. Third slide. Martin in his office, counseling someone. Stock photo from the church website. Faithful counselor. People were smiling, nodding. This was the Martin they knew. Then the fourth slide. The image changed. No more photos, just text. White letters on black background. I can't keep lying to him during counseling. When you ask about our intimacy issues, I want to tell him it's because I'm with you every Tuesday. Rebecca Wilson to Martin Taylor, March 2003. The sanctuary went silent. Complete silence. 400 people holding their breath. Fifth slide. James told me today he feels like a failure as a husband. I came to your house after and we laughed about it. Martin Taylor to Rebecca Wilson, June 2022. Gasps now, whispers. Harold Bennett stood up. Turn it off. Turn off the... But I was already standing, walking to the front, phone in hand. The slideshow kept going. 6th slide. 20 years of loving you in secret. 2 more until we can be free. Martin Taylor to Rebecca Wilson, October 2024. Stop this right now, Harold's voice. I reached the pulpit, took the microphone from Emma's hand. Before anyone tries to turn this off, you should know I have the phone, Martin's phone. All 7,294 messages are here. Every photo, every video, every piece of evidence. Rebecca was standing now, face white. Sophie beside her, confused, terrified. James, don't... Rebecca's voice. For 20 years, I said, my voice echoing through the sanctuary. Martin Taylor counseled my wife and me on our marriage. We came to him every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. We paid for those sessions. I paid for those sessions. 240 appointments. Do you want to know what those appointments really were? 7th slide. James just left. God, that was painful. 45 minutes of him crying about your marriage. Martin Taylor to Rebecca Wilson, June 2022. They were having an affair in his office during our counseling sessions while I was at work, while I trusted him, while I defended him to everyone who said he spent too much time with married women. People were standing now, some leaving, most staying, frozen. James, please stop. Rebecca's voice breaking. Please? I looked at her. You asked me yesterday if I wanted to be the father who ruins everything. Here's my answer. No, I want to be the father who tells the truth, even when the truth ruins comfortable lies. I turned back to the congregation. Before you defend him, know this. I'm not the first. Elder Bennett has a file in his office. 3 other women. Over 15 years, all of them paid off, all of them silenced, all of them told to move on for the good of the church. Harold was moving toward me. I held up my phone. I also have a recording from my confidential counseling session 2 years ago. Martin recorded it without my consent, then played it for my wife so they could laugh at me together. Would you like to hear it? No! Harold reached for the microphone. I stepped back. I'm going to play it because you need to hear who Martin Taylor really was. I pulled up the file, connected my phone to the church sound system. I'd tested it this morning. My voice filled the sanctuary, broken, vulnerable. Pastor, I don't know how to reach her anymore. I've tried everything. I've prayed. I've served. I've given her space. But I feel like I'm losing her. People were crying now. Not for Martin, for me, for what they were hearing. The recording continued, Martin's voice. James, some marriages, they just run their course. Then the click, the moment Martin thought the session was over. His voice, casual, laughing. Rebecca, you there? Rebecca's voice. Yeah, I'm here. Did he just leave? Just left. God, that was painful. He actually cried. Rebecca's laugh. What did he say? Same thing. Doesn't understand why you're distant. He has no spine. I stopped the recording. Let the silence fill the space. That's the man you're mourning. A man who violated counselor-client confidentiality, who recorded private sessions, who mocked the people he was supposed to help, who groomed my wife for 20 years while I paid him to fix my marriage. Sophie was crying now. Emma had moved to stand beside her, holding her. Mom? Sophie's voice, small, broken. Mom, is this real? Rebecca couldn't speak, just stood there, mascara running, exposed. I looked at the congregation. I know what some of you are thinking, that I'm a bitter husband, that I'm destroying a dead man's reputation, that I should have kept this private. I pulled out Emma's childhood drawing, held it up. This is what my daughter drew when she was 5 years old, in Sunday school. My family, 3 people, my wife, Pastor Martin, my daughter. Do you see anyone missing? Silence. I'm not in it. My 5-year-old daughter drew her family, and her father wasn't in the picture because Martin Taylor spent 20 years inserting himself into my family, into my marriage, into my daughter's life, and everyone here, the staff, the elders, the leadership, knew and said nothing. Diane Foster stood up in the back, crying. "I'm sorry, James. I'm so sorry. I should have said something." Others were standing now, leaving, some coming forward. I saw Jennifer Mitchell, one of the women from Harold's file. She was crying. "He did the same thing to me," she said, voice shaking. 10 years ago. They paid me $50,000 to stay quiet." Another woman stood, Sarah Reynolds. "Me too, 15 years ago. They told me no one would believe me, that I'd destroy the church if I spoke up." Harold was backing away from the pulpit, his face gray. The sanctuary erupted, shouting, crying, people demanding answers, people defending Martin, people calling for investigations. I looked at Emma. She was holding Sophie, both of them crying. Rebecca tried to approach me. I held up my hand. "Don't." "James, I can explain." "You can't. There's no explanation that makes this okay. No excuse that undoes 20 years of lies." She fell to her knees, dramatic, performed. "Please, please, I'm sorry. I'll do anything. I'll leave the church. I'll do whatever you want. Just please don't take my daughters from me." Sophie pulled away from Emma, looked at her mother on the floor, then at me. "Dad, I don't understand. Why would she do this?" "I don't know, sweetheart. Did you know?" "Not until Wednesday. Emma found the messages while making the slideshow." Sophie turned to Emma. "You knew? For 2 days you knew and didn't tell me?" "I'm sorry, Soph. I didn't know how." Sophie looked back at Rebecca, then at the screen, which was still showing messages, then at the congregation, which was chaos now. People shouting, elders trying to restore order, media trying to get closer. "I need to leave," Sophie said. "I need to get out of here." Emma took her hand, looked at me. "I'll take her home." "Thank you." They left through the side door, Emma's arm around Sophie's shoulders. I stood at the pulpit, holding the microphone. 400 people, and it was the loneliest I'd ever felt. "I didn't do this for revenge," I said, my voice somehow steady. "I did this because my daughters are watching, and I will not teach them that silence protects anyone but the guilty. I will not teach them that keeping secrets is the same as keeping peace. I will not teach them that men in power get to write their own history." I set down the microphone, walked down from the pulpit, past Rebecca, still on the floor, past Harold, who wouldn't meet my eyes, past the congregation, half of whom looked at me like I was a hero, half like I was a monster. I didn't care which half was bigger. The next week was brutal. Rebecca moved out, stayed with her sister for 2 days, but her sister wouldn't speak to her after I sent her copies of the messages. Rebecca ended up in a hotel. The church called an emergency meeting, hired an independent investigator. 5 more women came forward. 5, all with similar stories, all paid off, all silenced. Harold Bennett resigned. 3 other elders resigned. The church's insurance policy didn't cover sexual misconduct settlements. Legal bills were mounting. The local news ran the story for 4 days straight. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. I didn't answer. Rebecca was removed from worship leadership immediately. Unanimous vote. The 3 couples she was currently counseling, she'd started a side practice, announced they were suing for emotional distress and fraud. The PTA held an emergency vote. Rebecca was removed as president, 47-2 vote. I don't know who the 2 votes were. Sophie wouldn't speak to Rebecca, wouldn't take her calls, stayed with Emma and me. On Wednesday, 1 week after the funeral, Rebecca showed up at the house. I met her at the door. "Can I see the girls?" "Sophie doesn't want to see you." "James, please, she's my daughter." "You should have thought about that 20 years ago." "I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but she does. She deserves a mother." "Then be one. Be honest. Be real. Be someone worth forgiving. But that's between you and her. I'm done being your translator." She stood on the porch, smaller somehow, diminished. Everything I built is gone. My job, my friends, my church, my family. Yeah. Are you happy? Is this what you wanted? I wanted the truth. This is what the truth costs. She left. I watched her drive away. Inside, Sophie and Emma were sitting in the living room. Sophie looked up. Was that Mom? Yeah. What did she want? To see you. I'm not ready. I know, that's what I told her. Sophie started crying. Emma moved closer, held her. Why did she do it, Dad? Wasn't I enough? Wasn't Emma enough? Weren't we enough? I sat down beside them, put my arms around both of them. You were always enough. This was never about you. This was about her and Martin, their choices, their lies. You and Emma are the only innocent people in this story. I drew him when I was 5, Emma said quietly. Instead of you. That picture. I can't stop thinking about it. You didn't know, sweetheart. But what if I did? What if some part of me knew even then? Then some part of you knew what the adults in your life wouldn't admit. That's not your fault, that's theirs. We sat there, 3 people. What was left of our family? Sophie wiped her eyes. What happens now? Now we figure out how to move forward. How do we do that? I don't know yet, but we do it together. 6 months later, Emma was packing for Stanford, boxes everywhere, her room half empty already. You find your essay yet? I asked from the doorway. Yeah, want to read it? She handed me her laptop. Her Stanford entrance essay was on the screen. The title caught my eye. The drawing. What my father taught me about truth. I sat down on her bed, read. When I was 5 years old, I drew a picture of my family. I drew 3 people, my mother, our pastor, and me. My father wasn't in the picture. For 12 years, that drawing sat in a box in my closet. Then, at 17, I found out why I'd drawn it that way. My mother and the pastor had been having an affair my entire life. The drawing wasn't wrong. It was the truth I was too young to understand. My father taught me that the truth isn't what makes you comfortable. It's what makes you free. When he stood in front of 400 people and exposed a 20-year lie, he didn't do it for revenge. He did it because his daughter was watching and he wanted me to know that silence is not strength. Truth is, the easy choice would have been to stay quiet, to protect our reputation, to let a dead man stay a hero. But the easy choice would have taught me that power protects itself, that institutions matter more than people, that keeping secrets is the same as keeping peace. Instead, my father taught me that integrity costs something, that speaking up when everyone wants you to shut up is the hardest thing you'll ever do. That family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shows up when everything falls apart. Today, I have a new drawing. 3 people, my father, my sister, and me. The lines are steadier now, the colors brighter. It's titled My Real Family. Both drawings are true, what we survived and what we became. I looked up. Emma was crying. It's perfect, I said. You think? I know. She sat beside me. I'm scared to leave. Scared to leave you and Sophie. We'll be okay. How do you know? Because we already survived the worst thing. Everything else is just details. She leaned against my shoulder. Do you ever regret it? Telling the truth. Every day. Really? Every day I regret that I had to. I regret that the truth was so ugly. I regret what it cost you and Sophie. But I don't regret doing it. There's a difference. Dad. Yeah? Thank you for showing me what integrity looks like. Sunday afternoon, Sophie's soccer game. I was coaching now, something to do, something normal. We were terrible, but the girls didn't seem to mind. After the game, Sophie ran over. Grass-stained uniform, ponytail falling out. Did you see my goal? I saw it. Perfect form. She hugged me. 15, almost 16, growing up too fast. Some of the parents were asking about Mom. What did you tell them? That it's complicated, that we're working on it. Are you working on it? She shrugged. I talked to her yesterday on the phone for like 10 minutes. How was it? Weird, sad. She said she's in therapy, that she's trying to understand why she did it. Good. She asked if she could come to my game sometime. I said maybe. Is that okay? Sophie, your relationship with your mother is yours, not mine. If you want her at your games, that's your choice. I don't know if I forgive her yet. You don't have to know yet. We walked to the car. Emma was waiting, leaning against the hood. You guys ready for ice cream? Always, Sophie said. We drove to the same place we'd gone for years, ordered the same things, sat at the same table outside. Emma pulled out her sketchbook. I finished it this morning. She showed us. A new drawing, colored pencil, not crayon, 3 figures, clear faces this time. Me, Emma, Sophie. Title at the bottom, My Real Family. It's for your office, she said, to hang next to the old one. Emma, both truths matter, Dad, what we survived and what we became. I took the drawing, looked at the 3 of us, rendered in confident lines and bright colors. We looked happy, not perfect, not untouched, but happy. Can I add something? Sophie asked. Emma handed her a pencil. Sophie leaned over the drawing, added something in the corner, words, small but clear. Found family Emma smiled. Perfect. We sat there in the sun, 3 people, eating ice cream, laughing about Sophie's terrible penalty kick, planning Emma's going away party. An hour later, we drove home. I hung the new drawing on my office wall, right next to the old one. Emma was right. Both truths mattered. That night, after the girls went to bed, I stood in my office, looking at both drawings. The old one, Mommy, Pastor Martin, me, yellow sun in the corner, 5-year-old innocence. The new one, Dad, Emma, Sophie. Steady lines, true colors, hard-won family. Some secrets are heavier than truth, but the truth can be heavy too. It just doesn't crush you the same way.